Okay, good morning students. இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க வேண்டியது என்ன அப்படினு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா embryological evidences. What are the embryological evidences? Some of the evolution evidences are there. Now you have to see embryological evidences. The embryology deals with the study of the development of individual from the egg to the adult stage. That is called embryology. Embryology deals with the study of the development of individual from eggs to the adult stage. A detailed study of the embryonic development of different forms make us to think that there is a close resemblance during the development. The development of heart in all vertebrates follow the same pattern of development as a pair of tubular structures and later develop into two-chambered heart in fishes, three-chambered in amphibians and in most reptiles and four-chambered in crocodiles, birds and mammals, indicating a common ancestry for all the vertebrates. கருவியல் எவிடன்சஸ் அப்படின்னு பார்த்தோம்னா நம்ம சாதாரணமாக ஒரு உயிரினத்தில் ஒரு செல்லிலேருந்து உருவாக்கக்கூடிய பகுதிகள் அல்லது ஒரு பகுதியிலேருந்து உருவாக்கக்கூடியவை அப்படிங்கிறத நம்ம என்னென்னு சொல்லலாம்னா கருவியல் சான்றுகள் அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். அது எவ்வாறு உருவாக்கப்படுது, ஒரு உயிரினத்தில் ஒரு சைக்கோட்லேருந்து உருவாக்கக்கூடியது நிலைகள் தான் அந்த எம்ப்ரியானிக் ஸ்டேஜஸ்ன்னு சொல்லலாம். அதில் ஒவ்வொரு உயிரினத்துலேயும் ஒரு செல்லேருந்து உருவாக்கக்கூடியவை, ஒரு செல்லேருந்து டியூப்லார் 2 செல்களில் இதயம் 3 இதயங்கள் 4 இதயங்கள் அப்படின்னு கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக உருவாக்கக்கூடும். இவை உயிரினங்களுக்கு மாறுபடக்கூடும். அதுதான் சொல்கிறாங்க. Hence, scientists in the 19th century concluded that higher animals during their embryonic development pass through stages of lower animals' ancestors. Ernst von Haeckel propounded the biogenic law or theory of recapitulation, which states that the history of an individual briefly repeats and recapitulates the evolutionary history of the race. Phylogeny, in other words, ontogeny, recapitulates phylogeny. The embryonic stages of the higher animal resemble the adult stage of its ancestors. After that, the appearance of pharyngeal gill slits, yolk sac, and the appearance of tail in human embryos are some of the examples are there. The biogenetic law is not universal. The biogenetic law is not a universal, and it is now thought that animals do not recapitulate the adult stage of any ancestors. The human embryo recapitulates the embryonic history and not the adult history of the organisms. The comparative study of embryo of different animals shows structural similarities among themselves itself. And some of the embryos of fish, salamander, tortoise, chick and human start life as a single cell, the zygote, and undergoes the cleavage to produce a blastula, change to gastrula, and are triploblastic. This indicates that all the above said animals have evolved from a common ancestors. You can see the fish, salamander, tortoise, chick, humans. So normally it looks like a same in condition like a human beings. After that, in a human, the prostolar child also present. Theirs looks like a human embryo. Embryological evidences are also there. The next one is molecular evidences. Here, the molecular evolution is the process of change in a sequence composition of molecules such as DNA and RNA and proteins across the generation. It uses principles of evolutionary biology and population genetics to explain patterns in the change of molecules. One of the most useful advancements in the development of molecular biology is proteins and other molecules that control life process are conserved among species. A slight change that occurs over time in these conserved molecules, DNA, RNA and protein, are often called molecular clocks. Molecules that have been used to study evolution are cytochrome C, respiratory pathway, and RNA, protein synthesis. The next one is some of the theories are included in a evolution. Theories of biological evolution. First one is Lamarck theory. First theory is nothing but the Lamarck theory. Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck was the first to postulate the theory of evolution in the famous book Philosophiae Zoologicae. Is the year 1809. The two principles of Lamarckian theory are: first theory of use and disuse. First you have to use what are the parts you got to use? That the parts it will grow. Organs that are used often will increase in size, and those that are not used will degenerate. Neck in giraffe is a good example for use and absence of limbs in snakes is an example for disease theory. The next one is the theory of inheritance of acquired characters. The theory of inheritance of acquired characters. Characters that are developed during the lifetime of an organisms are called acquired characters, and these are then inherited. The main objection to Lamarckism. The main objectives of Lamarckism. Lamarck theory of acquired characters was disproved by August Weismann, who conducted experiments on mice for 20 generations by cutting the tails and breeding them. All mice born were with the tail. Weismann proved his germplasm theory that change in the spermatoplasm will not be transferred to the next generation, but changes in the germplasm will be inherited. The next one is Neo-Lamarckism. The followers of Lamarck, Neo-Lamarckism like Cope, Hobson, Backyard and Spencer tried to explain Lamarck's theory on a more scientific basis. They considered that adaptations are universal. Organisms acquire new structures due to their adaptation to the changed environmental conditions. They argued that external conditions stimulate the somatic cells to produce certain secretion which reach the sex cells through the blood and bring about variations in the offspring. Then Darwin theory of natural selection. Next one is Darwin theory of natural selection. In the theory, Charles Darwin explained the theory of evolution in his book Origin of Species by Natural Selection Method. During his journey around the earth, he made an extensive observation of plants and animals. He noted a huge variety and remarkable similarities among organisms and their adaptive features to scope up to their environment. He proved that fittest organisms can serve and leave more pregnancy than the unfit ones through natural selection. Darwin theory was based on several facts: observation and influence. They are overproduction and prodigality of production. Overproduction and prodigality of production. All living organisms increase their population in large number. For example, salmon fish produces about 28 million eggs during breeding season, and if all of them hatch, the seas would be filled with the salmon in few generations. Elephant, the slowest breeder that can produce 6 egg once in a lifetime, can produce 6 billion descendants at the end of some 50 years in the absence of any chick. The next one is struggle of existence. Organisms struggle for food, space and mate. As this become a limiting factor, competition existing among the members of the population, and Darwin denoted struggle for existence in 3 ways: intraspecific struggle and interspecific struggle and a struggle with the environment. Here intraspecific struggle between the same species for food and space and mate. Interspecific struggle with the different species for food and space. Struggle with the environment to cope with the climatic variations, food, earthquake and drought, etc. And universal occurrence of variation. What are the universal occurrence of variations? No two individuals are alike. There are variations even in identical twins. Even the children born of the same parents differ in color, height, behavior, etc. The useful variations found in organisms help them to overcome struggle, and such variations are passed on to next generation. The origin of species by natural selection. Origin of species by natural selection. According to Darwin, nature is the most powerful selective forces. He compared origin of species by natural selection to a small isolated group. Darwin believed that the struggle for existence resulted in the survival of the fittest. Such organisms become better adapted to the changed environment. Objection to Darwinism. Some objection raised against Darwinism were Darwin failed to explain the mechanism of variations. Darwinism explained this survival of the fittest but not the arrival of the fittest. He focused on small fluctuating variations that are mostly non-heritable. He did not distinguish between somatic and germinal variations. He could not explain the occurrence of vestigial organs over specialization of some organs like large trunks in extinct mammoths overslap and antlers in the extinct iris deers, etc. The next one is Neo-Darwinism. Neo-Darwinism is the interpretation of Darwinism evolution through natural selection. It is been modified since it was proposed. A new facts that the discoveries about evolution have led to modification of Darwinism, and it is supported by Wallace, Heinrich, Haeckel, Weismann, and Mendel. This theory emphasizes the change in the frequency of genes in population arising to the mutation, variation, isolation, and natural selections. Okay, next class we will see the next theory, mutation theory. Okay, thank you one and all. Thank you.